Hello, everybody, and welcome to Monster Monday. Now, we've talked about goblins and we've talked about kobolds. So let's go in a completely different direction and talk about unicorns. Unicorn. French unicun. Latin uniqueness. Literally one horn. Unis, one, and cornu, a horn. A fabulous animal resembling a horse with one horn, visible only to those who search and trust, and generally mistaken for a white mare. Unicorn. I love the last unicorn movie. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, so unicorns have been around forever. No one knows how they first came to be. Like, some people think that the Greeks, because they didn't have unicorns in mythology, they actually had them in their natural history books. They believed that unicorns were actually wild horses or wild asses, donkeys, that lived in India. And there is a weird sort of there is a weird sort of animal in India that has one horn up and one horn down, and when viewed from really far away, I guess maybe you could mistake for being like a one-horned bipedal animal, or not bipedal, but you know what I'm talking about. If you looked at it from really far away, maybe, but I don't know. No one is sure. They pop up everywhere. There's some mentioning of them in the Bible. There's talk about them everywhere. There's imprints. Some people think that at one point someone tried to like pass off rhinoceros bones and a narwhal horn as being a unicorn, and there's a whole bunch of different like versions of prehistoric unicorns, like some that look almost like rhinos, some that still resemble horses, and others that are like donkeys or asses, and some that are like deer. Look, they're everywhere, and there's all different kinds. But yeah, so no one is sure where they came from, but a lot of people think they started in Greece, talking about India, which to them was like this fantastical, magical land where unicorns could exist, and from there, in medieval Europe, they began to be romanticized and fictionalized and turned to like this creature that sometimes it has cloven hooves, sometimes it has horse hooves, sometimes it has like goat fur and like a beard, and sometimes it's lionesque with a mane. Sometimes it breathes fire. I mean, what in the world? I mean, it's true. It's so weird. But like no one is sure, and there's a whole bunch of different versions of them. There's a there's a version in China that's chimera like. It's got hawk and lion and dragon, but they call it a unicorn, and it's weird. It's so weird. And like there's the whole thing about them not being able to be captured, or the whole thing about virgins being the only one able to see them or be able to capture them comes from the Greeks, who talked about how ferocious it was and how impossible to capture it was. And the reason it was impossible to capture was because unicorns did this trick where they would, as soon as they knew they were being chased, they would run off a cliff. And their horns were so strong that when they landed in such a way so that their horn would take all of the impact of the fall, and then they'd pull up their horn and they'd run off. Which is, what? Why? Why would you ever put that in your history books? That makes so no sense. But that impossibility to be captured was romanticized into only maidens or virgins could even see them, let alone like meet with them or tame them or capture them in any way. And It's said that their horn, which some people call an alicorn or an alleyhorn, which means something totally different today, apparently, thanks to My Little Pony. But an alleyhorn or an alicorn is the horn on the unicorn's head, and it has healing properties. It has purifying properties. It was said that a single unicorn horn ground up into powder could cleanse an entire poisoned lake and make it drinkable. It's said that ground up unicorn horn was given to kings to prolong life, which most people are thinking is probably just ground up narwhal horn. And overall, it was valued very highly in the medieval Europe, where it went for huge prices. These false unicorn horns. I don't know why you'd call them false unicorn horns if unicorns don't exist, but no one knows. It's so weird. But that transitions into their fantasy perfectly. Like the in D&D especially, they adopt the goat-like unicorn with cloven hooves and a long beard if they're male. Females and males alike have like this long curly mane, which is reflected very well in The Last Unicorn. If you pay close attention, the original story, I believe, had it being this sort of goat-like unicorn completely, with lots of curly fur. And I haven't read the book myself, but I've heard that she even has like a sort of an undermane that could be called a beard. But I haven't read the book, so I don't know. But in the movie, at least, they clean that up a little bit and make it look more like a traditional unicorn. But they still keep the curled fur in a lot of places that sometimes look like human hair and sometimes looks more like goat fur, like around her hooves. So I mean, they did a really good job with that. I'm really happy. Like I'm so glad that was how I was introduced to unicorns, and it wasn't like My Little Pony or something, so that I could fully embrace the romanticized fiction of it without being turned off by the "you girls" part that some shows do. But in their mythology, I mean, that just continues. I mean, they're ferocious beasts. They attack with their horn. Their horn is very strong, both physically and magically. It's able to pierce most magic. They are protectors of their particular forest. Sometimes they're alone. Other times they mate for life, and there's two. And sometimes there's herds. Depends on where you are and how magically powerful the area is. Their horns are still very powerful, very potent, healing ingredients. A whole horn by itself is capable of doing all kinds of really neat magic tricks. I mean, it's used mainly for purifying magic, but it's also said that evil creatures can take the horn and grind it up and make it into a healing elixir for those that are evil. Even demons. Like, this cures all things, regardless of whether you're a good guy or a bad guy, whether you're a demon or a non-demon. It heals just about everything. Unicorns themselves are immune to poison and immune to charm magic. In Dungeons and Dragons, there's the good kind of unicorn, but there's also a dark unicorn or a black unicorn that are bred by demons and are ridden by evil drow women, and they're the exact same as normal unicorns, just flipped on its head. A good unicorn will protect its woodland home. A dark unicorn will protect its either cursed wood or cave. A good unicorn will only bond with a maiden and will try to keep anyone else out of their forest. A evil unicorn will bond only with an evil woman and keep everyone else out of their forest. And they both have like heavy dependency issues, with which drives the myth, according to D&D, that they only bond with virgins, because both types of unicorns in the wild, if they find like an orphaned child that is female, they will actually adopt it and allow the child to ride on their back. And as they grow up, they become very attached to this other person, so much so that if they begin to meet other humans or fall in love with another human, they'll vanish. They'll just leave. They're heartbroken, and they just get as far away, and they're never seen again. In Pathfinder, there's another kind of unicorn which is way stronger. Like, normal unicorn is challenge rating, which is a difficulty scale in D&D, 3, meaning that a party of level 3s can take it down no problem. A party of level 1s, it could be like a boss, I guess. And then anything past that, it's like a level 5 or level 6 character could solo one. And I believe the Dark Unicorn is only in normal Dungeons and Dragons, and I think it's a challenge rating 5. I'm not 100% sure because I don't play normal D&D. And in Pathfinder, there's a Twilight Unicorn, which is actually a unicorn that has absorbed a large amount of demonic taint in order to protect its homeland. And it has become wild. Like, it's gone crazy. It's not really crazy. It's just turned chaotic, and it's trying to remain good, but failing. It keeps everyone out. It's the one that's most prone to killing people. It's way stronger. I think a challenge rating 7 or 8. And if it dies, interestingly enough, if it dies, it'll actually release all of the pent-up corruption that it's been holding back, and it'll turn into a demon. Usually, if not always, a shadow demon, which is interesting for me because I use shadow demons in my Pathfinder. So that's an interesting thing that can happen. But yeah, so the only thing that stops a Twilight Unicorn, or the only human that can bond with a Twilight Unicorn or elf or anything really, is a pure, good aligned knight or paladin female. And then they become like loyal mounts. They ride into battle. They're incredibly strong, but they only remain so as long as their chosen bonded knight remains pure and sticks to their code. So that's kind of an unfair leg up, actually, for females. That's not fair. no, obviously not. It's really cool as far as I'm concerned. And it's surprising how powerful they are, even though like the normal one is only challenge rating 3, which is peanuts. Their healing properties are so powerful that captured and sold alive, they're worth thousands, even dead. You like, if you cut off their horn, I mean, people will usually not buy it, but if you find the person who's desperate enough, or find the person who doesn't care how you got a unicorn horde in the first place, it can be sold for like 1,500 to 2,000 gold, which for a level 3 party, I mean, in my campaign, it's whoosh. I mean, that's a lot, man. That's a lot. That's enough to do just about anything you want with. And to give that to a level 3 party, I mean, you could start buying mounts for your party and, go on with your life, I guess. So, that was Unicorn. That was a lot of fun. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everybody.